Hi, I'm Alex, this is Pucks and Paperbacks, and today I am giving Reddit book recommendations. You probably know this already, but I love to give book recommendations. I feel like I'm pretty good at it. It is so much fun. So something I like to do to pass the time is scroll bookish Reddits and give people book recommendations or just see what people are recommending. So I figured I would turn it into a video. This is not an original idea by any means. Books and Lala has done it, and there's another creator who's done it as well, so I'll link those videos down below. I have 5 posts that I am going to recommend books for, so without further ado, let's get into it. From r/LGBTQ+ books, queer graphic novel recommendations? Hey, I'm currently working on writing and illustrating a graphic novel, and while I've definitely read a lot of them, I'm always looking for more recs. I'm a genderqueer lesbian, so I'd love some stuff I can relate to, but I'm also always down to read about other identities. I definitely prefer fantasy, sci-fi, and horror, but I'm down for other stuff too. Some of my favorite graphic novels are the Cosmo Knights books, Magical Boy, Beetle and the Hollow Bones, Snot Girl, The Princess and the Dressmaker, Snapdragon, Nimona, and The Girl from the Sea. Again, I'm down to read pretty much any genre, and I'm mostly curious about hearing other people's favorites. Thanks in advance. I don't read much fantasy and sci-fi, but when I do, it's in a graphic novel. They have a lot of my favorite books in this post, including Beetle and the Hollow Bones, Snapdragon, The Girl from the Sea, and The Prince and the Dressmaker. I'm going to recommend 2 books here. First is Lunar Boy by Jess and Shin Weibo. I recently read this a couple months ago and loved it. It is about a trans boy, Indu, who lives on the moon, but he is adopted by a family and is set to live in New Earth. He has to adapt to his new surroundings, there's culture shock, and he is navigating being a trans boy. This has a bunch of queerness. There is a trans side character, a non-binary character. It's of course a sci-fi. This is a YA middle grade, but I adored it. When I think of fantasy graphic novels, the T-Dragon Society comes to mind. This person didn't have it in their post, but I wonder if they've read it. If not, they should. This is a cozy fantasy series with queerness normalized about T-Dragons. It exudes found family and is just such a sweet and cozy read. Before we get back into the video, I want to let you know how you can get a personalized book recommendation from me. If you watch my book recommendation videos and wish I could give you a specific book recommendation, this is for you. On my Patreon, for the highest tier, the Bookish bundle, which is at $10, they have a perk where every quarter of the year they receive a book recommendation from me. They fill out a form with questions related to the book recommendation they're looking for. This includes genre, audience, and I have them tell me 3 of their favorite books so that I can gauge what kind of vibes we're looking for. I have so much fun doing this, and I have had such a good reception from my audience. They devoured these book recommendations and say that they are so good. I am not just saying that to pump my own tires, it's true. I've had so many messages from my patrons where they have found their favorite book or they are just so grateful for my book recommendation. So if you'd like to receive one, August is the next one. I will be sharing this again in some videos as well as on my community tab. I would love to have you over on Patreon. It is the best way to support me as a small trans creator who is not monetized. I spend so much time over there, and if you become a part of the top tier, I will shout you out at the end of my videos. You get a personalized birthday card during the month of your birthday, as well as a vlog every month. Lately, it has been a spoiler reading vlog where I pick a suggestion my patrons have given me and I read it. If that sounds interesting to you, I would love to have you over on Patreon. The link is down below. Now, back to the video. From r/books that feel like this, books that feel like this, LGBTQ+ would be nice. We have pictures of girls kissing in the ocean, surfing, mermaids, so they probably want like sapphic or queer mermaids. I want to recommend The Girl from the Sea here. It is a YA about a girl who is closeted as a lesbian and she meets a Selkie and befriends her and they start to have a little romance. That is such a cute book, and honestly, these pictures give off that book's whole vibe. But when I first saw this post, this book came to mind. This is How to Make a Wish by Ashley Herring Blake. This has more of like a lake. This is a YA sapphic romance following Grace and Eva. Grace has a hard upbringing with her mother jumping from guy to guy and a lot of toxicity and uncertainty in her life. But when she meets Eva, all of her worries go away. This is such a stunning book. I am desperately in need of a reread because it has been years since I've picked this up, but this is one of the best Ashley Herring Blakes in my opinion. We have bisexuality. I think this is such a phenomenal book. It does not have any relation to mermaids or sirens in any way. This is set during the summer. The blurb says, set over one unforgettable summer in a tiny seaside town, How to Make a Wish is the story of two girls who find each other at the exact right time. Okay, so I guess it is set on a beach. It says a seaside town. I hope you get the vibes. And if you haven't read this already, go do so. This book is not queer, though I wish it was. However, I'm recommending it here because it has surfing. This is a graphic novel called A Map to the Sun by Sloan Leong. This is so good. It is about friendship, surfing. It also has some basketball, and it can be dark at times because it does talk about drug use and just some toxic family issues and a friendship breakup. But this is about a girl who befriends another girl, and this girl vanishes and she has to come to terms with this person not being in her life anymore. They have to unpack a lot of things that happen here, but if you want some surfing, this book, it's so good. From r/LGBT Books, what are your queer beach read recommendations? We at NBC Out, NBC News' vertical devoted to elevating the conversation around LGBTQ news, are looking for reader recommendations of queer beach reads published in the last year between July 2024 and July 2025. Okay, I didn't read that part. I do have a recommendation for July 2025, so maybe I'll just scrap the other recommendation I had. Okay, so this actually came out June 10th of 2025. I recently read this in my episode of TBR Tackle that was posted on Saturday. I'll link it up above for you. This is a queer romance paying homage to Notting Hill, following Jude, a queer bookseller, and Kat, a closeted child star. This is a steamy, messy queer romance, and I ate it up. And that's why I think it's a perfect beach read, because you could probably read this in one sitting on the beach. It is a messy, juicy, complex romance. We have a lot of feelings here as we delve into topics such as grief, loss of a parent, and eating disorders. This was such a great romance, and I highly recommend it. Another post from r/LGBT Books says, non-binary books. I'm looking for books about non-binary characters realizing they're non-binary or navigating their coming out journey. Preferably characters in their 20s or older. I'm almost 23. And also preferably trans-masc. I'm not picky and I'm open to anything. Any genre is fine, preferably fiction since that's most of what I read. I'm navigating my own stuff with being non-binary and need some inspiration on being myself so I can stop pushing it aside and ignoring it for the sake of others. I have two recommendations here. I know they asked for fiction, but I do also have a nonfiction. I feel like when you're trying to navigate your gender and figure yourself out, nonfiction is the best way to go. So let's start with that one first. This is Pretty by KB Brookins. Now, this can be intense at times. This is KB Brookins' memoir. They are a Black trans-masc non-binary person. This talks about religion, growing up in Texas, and specifically talks about masculinity. It's written in verse. It is so beautifully written and intense at times. This is just a nice reminder that you're not alone. Navigating your own gender is really difficult and messy. So I think reading a memoir from somebody who has also experienced similar things is very refreshing and comforting, honestly. That is one thing that helped me when I came out as trans, is finding like-minded people and community and knowing that I am not the only person who feels like this. Actually, when I started to figure out who I was, it was through a nonfiction book. That's why I love nonfiction. I think it helps so much, especially when you're reading from somebody in that community. I'm also going to share The Feeling of Falling in Love by Mason Deaver here because we have a character, Wyatt, who is discovering they are non-binary and discovers this throughout throughout the book. They are not trans masc, but they are AMAB, and I think that's really important representation, as we don't see that very often in books. It usually is AFAB people who come out as non-binary or are the non-binary character. This is a YA T for T romance following Neil and Wyatt. Wyatt comes out as non-binary throughout the book, and I think it is good representation if you are in this person's shoes and looking to read about somebody who is going through the same thing. Wyatt is a saint because the premise of this book is Neil has to go to his brother's wedding. He recently broke it off with somebody he was seeing and is like, oh no, I need a date to the wedding. For some reason, Wyatt says yes, despite Neil hating their guts and just being a very mean person. But this talks about trans rage. I think that is also very important when you are discovering your gender. That is something I had to work through as I came out as trans, and I just felt so angry. I think both characters' experiences in this book are very important to read about and will be comforting to somebody who is going through the same. Even though our characters are messy and want to bite each other's heads off at some points, I adore this romance. I'll also mention, as you are learning about your gender and learning you're trans, I also think it's important to see yourself represented in romances. Our last post comes from r/YA lit. Middle grade LGBTQ plus books. I'm looking for older middle grade or younger YA books with LGBTQ plus characters and themes. Thanks in advance. I'm on it. My recommendation for the older middle grade is Both Can Be True by Jules Machias. This has a gender fluid character, and it is a friendship between two 7th graders who try to save a dog from being put down. Now, that can be a sensitive topic, but I think if you have an older child, you can obviously talk to them about it. This is so good. It was a great way to talk about gender fluidity because we get the inner thoughts of our gender fluid character. For a younger YA, I'm recommending The Passing Playbook by Isaac Fitzsimons. We're following a trans boy, Spencer, who has moved to Ohio and is going to a new high school. He's in 10th grade, so he's about 15 years old. He's chosen to be stealth in the school and loves to play soccer, so he joins the soccer team. But eventually he finds out there's an Ohio law preventing him from playing. During the school year, he meets another boy who he hits it off with. They have a little romance. This book ultimately talks about transphobia and religious bigotry. I love this book for younger YA, and I think it's important to be talking to teens about these issues. I love this book so much, and I highly recommend it. Those are all of my recommendations for Reddit. Let me know if you also peruse Reddit for books. I honestly think they have some of the best book recommendations. When I'm looking for books, now I just go to Reddit and I don't go to like TikTok or something. I'd love to know what you think about Reddit book recommendations in the comments. If you're new here, hi, I'm Alex. I'm a trans man who loves to uplift queer and trans books. If that's your thing and you want more book recommendations like this, hit subscribe so you can join my community and be notified every time I post a new video. I post twice a week and would love to have you a part of my community. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like and leave a comment. It really helps me out. You can just leave a book emoji. Thank you to my top patrons for their support this month. I really appreciate it. If you would like exclusive content every month and to support me as a small trans creator, I would love your support over on Patreon. The link is down below. If you'd like to watch more videos like this, I recently posted a video where I recommended books based on popular queer books, so I will link it right here and you can subscribe there. Bye.